Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to Fright Flicks and the review of the final episode of Season 1 of Slasher, the first original series from Chiller TV. My name is Nate. Find me online at NateFlix on Facebook or Twitter, and possibly Pinterest, although I haven't been on there in several weeks. I've been bringing you the last few weeks worth of slasher reviews / killer theories, but as of tonight there are no more killer theories. At the end of episode 7, we saw the reveal of the killer of Slasher. Officer Cam Henry, who I had predicted from the very first episode was the killer, ended up being the killer, and the reveal at the end of episode 7, the penultimate episode, was not a red herring. He was the killer. This may disappoint some of you. What disappointed me was that in episode 7, after the executioner, aka Condom Head, had felled his final victim, he left a note for our final girl, Sarah, saying, "Peace out, yo. Mic drop. I'm out of here. I killed all the motherfuckers I want to kill, and now I'm done." And she said, "No, you are not done until I say you're done, because I'm going to find out who you are." Well, this episode starts like 3 months later, and you know what? What she said, she totally didn't live up to. She didn't try to find out who the killer was. She went on with her life. Because of her husband, who ended up being a lying piece of shit, he made her really famous. So her art gallery is super popular now, and a bunch of fat girls with black nail polish come and buy her paintings now, and she could really care less who the executioner really was. Slasher, episode 8, opening credits. That's how we're doing this. Sorry if I'm making fun of it, because quite possibly the weakest episode Slasher ever did was this one. And I'm not saying it was bad. You know what? This was the worst episode they've ever done, and it still wasn't that bad. This is a pretty good series. I've name-checked this several times, but let me repeat, because now it's over. Now all 3 of them are over. There have been 3 attempts in the last calendar year, within the last year, to make an episodic television series about slashers. There was Scream on MTV, which was okay. Actually, it was shitty, but then it really picked up at the end. Second, there was Scream Queens on Fox, which was really funny and pretty good, and then it exploded at the end and was terrible. Like, so terrible it invalidated the entire season, and although it's been picked up for a second season, unless I'm reviewing it, I won't be watching it, because I'm still pissed at it. Slasher was the 3rd attempt. It was the first one that was successful. And although I'm currently shitting all over this finale, still, overall, Slasher was the best of the 3. If you're going to watch Scream, going to watch Scream Queens, or going to watch Slasher, pick this one. It was the most satisfying of the 3. So let's start with the good stuff. Now that at the end of episode 7, it was revealed who the killer is, Officer Cam Henry, episode 8 begins in the past when Cam was a kid, and as a sleepwalker wearing a pig Halloween mask, which is supremely creepy, he pitches his bitch mother down the steps and kills her. Awesome. Cut back to now, where he's like doing push-ups and like getting buff as shit, and just he's still high off getting away with all the executioner killings. Well, his dad, the preacher, ends up catching on to it, and he's not even going to out Cam to the cops. He's just outing Cam to God. He's like, let's sit down, let's get on our knees, let's pray to God for your forgiveness for betraying God's law. And what does Cam do? On the altar, on the steps of the church, he strangles his priest father to death. Okay, that's awesome, okay? But it gets better, because after that, he frames the final girl, Sarah. He frames her husband, Dylan, for all the crimes, arrests him, puts him in jail, then goes over to Sarah's house and fucks her. Boom. Okay, so greatest thing on television in 2016 so far. We have a guy. He kills his mother. He kills his father. He kills a bunch of other people who richly have it coming. He frames an innocent man for the crimes. He bangs that innocent man's wife. And then he looks up into the sky and he sees the Goodyear blimp, and it says, Cam Henry is a pimp. That should have been the end of the series, if you ask me, but it wasn't. They kept it going. Unfortunately, all downhill from there. And it is so unfortunate, because that would have been the horror movie fade out, with the bad guy getting the ultimate win. The bad guy doesn't get the ultimate win. We have Sarah, played by Katie McGrath, who is quite good. And let me preface my following comments saying that the actress does a respectable job entirely. She carries her weight. The problem with this final episode is not her, and it is the writing. They totally dropped the ball. They got it wrong. So let's just take it from the perspective of our heroine, where she falls for his shit, and then she gives it up from the backside to Cam Henry. Not even just the front side, the backside too. Bam. Way to go, Cam. So, afterwards, she has a little bit of regret, so she starts digging through old yearbooks at her summer camp, and in one of the weakest reveals in slasher genre history, she's digging through her old summer camp yearbook, and then she's like, oh my god, I totally forgot that Cam was one of my camp counselors, and there's a picture of him holding up a hand-drawn picture of gluttony. Oh my god, that's the same picture of gluttony that the executioner used when he killed somebody for gluttony. Oh my god, it's Cam. Well, what do I do? Do I go to the police? No, I've got a better idea. I'm going to trick him, and I'm going to bring a giant-ass knife, and I'm going to go to a public bar where he's drinking, and I'm going to try and seduce him, and then I'm going to stab him in the guts. Okay, this is terrible for one reason, and one reason only. In not just my personal preference, and it is my personal preference, but in the preference of history, of general perception, you don't like your hero to just bushwhack somebody and stab him in the guts when they think you're going to give it up. Like, Cam wasn't threatening her. She set out like a murderer to to trick him into being vulnerable so she could stab him to death. Didn't work. He stabs her gay best friend. He ends up giving chase. He runs back to her house, where she thinks her cuckolded husband, who was set up for the murder that he didn't commit. Remember that. He was set up. He was sent to jail. She fucked somebody else within like a few hours or whatever. And then it all runs back to the house. She and Cam get into a fight. Dylan pops up, and for like 2 seconds, he tries to talk her out of it. Hey, Sarah, don't do this. You're better than this. Oh, wait a second. Hold on. I'm going to grab Cam and I'm going to hold him down in a cross-faced chicken wing so that you can stab him in the guts like 8 times and then slash his throat while I look at you and go, yeah, you did the right thing. You did not do the right thing. Come on. Captain America wouldn't have done that. Matt Murdock wouldn't have done that. Your life wasn't threatened. Why didn't you build a case and give him up to the police so that everybody could know? She didn't do that. Was it because Tom Winston is her actual father, so she's born a murderer? Maybe it's personal preference. I don't believe anybody's born a murderer. I don't believe it's genetic. I believe it's environmental. I'm getting off track here. And in any event, Sarah, cold-blooded murdering Cam, yeah, it settles the show. Yeah, the bad guy was punished by the good guy. But in an entirely unsatisfying way. It simply did not work for me. And I'm not saying that Cam being the executioner didn't work for me. It did. Obviously it did, because I've been saying he was the executioner from episode 1. Killer theories. Hi, I'm Nate. My killer theory is that it's Cam. Yes, I'm totes right. If you ever listen to Killer Theories again, and you may not because there may not be a Killer Theories again. Now that my podcasting partner Mike and I have gotten into making short films and making horror films and making comedies, stuff like that, sitting down and reviewing other people's work, and in this case shitting on it, gotta tell you, it's not cathartic at all. It's not. God damn it. It's not even interesting at all. You know? So this show, Slasher, and let's talk about the season overall really quick. It's not the best thing you've ever seen, but it was solid. It was entertaining. If you're looking for Slash, this is good Slash. It had some blood, it had some gore, good kills, few good characters, few good plot lines. Overall, I entirely recommend it. The season as a whole, I give it a 7 out of 10. The season finale, possible series finale as a whole, I give it a 4. No. I'll bump it up just out of respect. I'll give it a 5 out of 10. Worst episode of the entire season for the reasons that I just laid out. Yes, good triumphed over evil, which was fine. It was just, it bothered me that the only reason that good triumphed over evil was that good became evil for 5 seconds, but then apparently in the epilogue was totally cleared because good rides off into the sunset as if it is still good, but it isn't, because they went to the dark side. Good became evil, and thus evil won. Is that our takeaway? No, it isn't, because they drive off And then a new family moves into the murder house where all this shit happened. And while the parents are buying the house, this is the worst part of the whole episode, quite frankly. Their 10-year-old daughter walks out into the yard and sees a cat and then wrings its neck. And this is supposed to leave us with the feeling of like, oh my god, there's a new slasher. Jesus Christ. Like we all haven't broken the neck of a cat just for fun. We all have. Alright? Alright, I'm kidding. I never broke the neck of a cat. I always set them on fire. Or throw a bunch of them into a burlap sap and then throw them into a river and watched them fight to death as they drowned. That's the fun stuff. Okay, I'm still kidding. I'm only kidding because this was such an incredibly weak fade out. I can't believe that they're even planning a second season after that bullshit. So, to recap. Slasher Season 1 is a win. It's good. It's even very good. Forget Scream on MTV. Forget Scream Queens on Fox. They're both okay. This one, Slasher on Chiller TV, is better than okay. Unfortunately, better than okay is qualified by the fact that it ended its run with its weakest episode. My name's Nate. Respond to this video or find me on social media at Nateflix. I may or may not be back in a couple of months for the review of Season 2 of Scream, or the review of Season 2 of Scream Queens. But I may not be back for that. Honestly, if I'm not reviewing them for you guys, I probably won't even watch them. Because the first seasons were although if Slasher comes back for a Season 2, I'm going to watch it whether or not I review it. Until then, good night.